Hey guys, Levon here. And I've been talking about this for a while if you've joined us on live streaming before. But basically, it's been a year since this channel started. Whole entire year, 365 days. And when we first started, we did the underwater adventures of Fallout, which was really cool. The attention it got, it was something I didn't see coming. But during that and us picking up every item in Fallout 4, we were taking skeletons or taking pictures of every skeleton that we encountered. I thought it would be something weird and funny to do. And sometime after I posted all that, the Fallout underwater stuff, I ended up having to reformat my computer. I thought I lost it all, but actually I found it here recently and I was deciding if I was going to upload it or not. But I have the pictures uploaded. They're going to be down below. It's like 600 plus. So if you feel like looking at a bunch of skeletons and funny and weird positions, feel free to check that out, or you can just continue watching the video. But we were all, not we, I was kind of under the influence and delusion we were going to see that old Peg in the game come up at some time because they kept referencing it continuously, and then we had like the squid and cut underwater quests, and I thought we were going to get it. So, as to try something new, I had decided I was going to read part of Moby Dick, and while the pictures of the skeletons flash across the screen. Like I said, I thought I lost it. I found it. I listened to it. I found it kind of funny because I was so into it, and now a year later, Fallout 4 official Bethesda content is over with. Won't see it. It didn't turn out to be a thing. I thought it was there. It was a sad day for me. But I figured I would at least post a video. Maybe you guys could get a laugh. And if anybody wanted to hear me read more Moby Dick to them, they could just let me know down below. And I'd be more than happy to comply. I thought it was funny looking back on it all now. I hope you enjoy it. I hope you get a laugh. Called me Ishmael. Some years ago, never mind how long precisely, having little or no money in my purse, and nothing particularly to interest me on shore, I thought I would sail about a little and see what a watery part of the world. It is a way I have of driving off the spleen and regulating the circulation. Whenever I find myself growing grim about the month, whenever it is a damp, drizzly November in my soul, whenever I find myself involuntarily pausing before coffin warehouses and bringing up the rear of every funeral I meet, especially whenever my hippus gets such an upper hand of me that it requires a strong moral principle to prevent me from deliberately stepping into the street and methodically knocking people's hats off. Then I count it high time to get to sea as soon as I can. This is my substitute for pistol and ball. With a philosophical flourish, Cato throws himself upon his sword. I quietly take to the ship. There is nothing surprising in this. If they but knew it, almost all men in their degree, sometime or another, cherish very nearly the same feelings towards the ocean with me. There is now your insular city of the Manhattanos, belted round by wars of Indian isles, by coral reefs. Commerce surrounds it with her surf. Right and left, the streets take you waterward. Its extreme downtime is the Battery, where that noble mole is washed by waves and cooled by breezes, which a few hours previous were out of sight of land. Look at the crowds, water gazers there. Circumambulate the city of dreamy Sabbath afternoon, go from Collier's Hook to Coentage Slip, and from thence by Whitehall northward, What do you see? Posted like silent sentinels all around the town stand thousands upon thousands of mortal men fixed in ocean reveries, some leaning against the spiles, some seated upon their pier heads, some looking over the bulwarks of ships from China, some aloft in the rigging, as if striving to get a still better seaward peep. But there are landsmen, of week days pent up in lath and plaster, tied to counters, nailed to benches, clenched to desk. How then is this? Are the green fields gone? What they do here. But look here come more crowds pacing straight for the water, and seemingly bound for a dive. Strange! Nothing will content them but the extremest limit of the land, loitering under the shady lee of yonder warehouses, will not suffice. No, they must go us as nigh the water as they possibly can without falling in, and there they stand, miles of them, leagues, inlanders, all they come from lanes and alleys, streets and avenues, north, east, south, and west, yet there they all unite. Tell me, does the magnetic virtue of the needles of the compasses of all those ships extract them thither? Once more say you are in the country, in some high land of lakes. Take almost any path you please, and 10 to 1 it carries you down in a dale, and leaves you there by a pool in the stream. There is a magic in it. Let the most absent-minded of men be plunged in the deepest reveries. Stand that man on his legs, set his feet a-going, and all he will infallibly lead you to water, if water there be in all that region. Should you ever be athirst in the great American desert, try this experiment. If your caravan happen to be supplied with a metaphysical professor, yes, as everyone knows, meditation and water are wedded forever. But here is an artist. He desires to paint you the dreamiest, shadiest, quiet, most enchanting bit of romantic landscape in the valley of the Saco. What is the chief element he employs? There stands his trees, each with a hollow trunk, as if a hermit and a crucifix were within, and here sleeps his meadow, and there sleep his cattle, and up from yonder cottage goes a sleepy smoke, deep into distant woods, winds a mazy way, reaching to overlapping spurs of mountain bathed in their hillside blue. But though the picture lies thus tranced, and though this pine tree shakes down its sigh leaves upon this shepherd's head, yet all were vain, unless the shepherd's eyes were fixed on the magic stream before him. Go visit the prairies in June, when he scores on scores of miles you wade knee deep among tiger lilies. What is the one charm wanting? Water. There is not a drop of water here. Were Niagara but a cataract of sand, would you travel your 1,000 miles to see it? Why did the poor poet of Tennessee, upon suddenly receiving 2 handfuls of silver, deliberate whether to buy him a coat, which he sadly needed, or invest his money in a pedestrian trip to Rockaway Beach? Why is almost every robust, healthy boy with a robust, healthy soul in him, at some time or other crazy to go to sea? Why upon your first voyage as a passenger do you yourself feel such a mystical vibration, when first told you and your ship were now out of sight and land? Why did the old Persians hold the sea holy? Why did the Greeks give it a separate deity? An own brother of Jove, surely all this is not without meaning. And still deeper the meaning of that story of Narcissus, who, because he could not grasp the tormenting mild image he saw in the fountain, plunged into it and was drowned. But that same image we ourselves see in all rivers and oceans. It is the image of the ungraspable phantom of life. This is the key to it all. Now, when I say that I am in the habit of going to sea, whenever I begin to grow hazy about the eyes, and begin to be overconscious of my lungs, I do not mean to have inferred that I ever go to sea as a passenger. For to go as a passenger, you must needs have a purse, and a purse is but a rag unless you have something in it. Besides, passengers get seasick, grow querulous, don't sleep of nights, do not enjoy themselves so much, and as a general thing, no, I never go as a passenger. Nor though I am something of salt, do I ever go to sea as a commodore, or a captain, or a cook. I abandon the glory and distinction of such offices to those who like them. For my part, I abnegate all honorable, respectable toils, trials, and tribulations of every kind whatsoever. It is quite as much as I can do to take care of myself, without taking care of ships, barks, brigs, schooners, and what not. And as for going as cook, though, I confess there's no considerable glory in that. A cook being a sort of officer on shipboard, yet somehow I never fancied broiling fowls. Though once broiled judiciously, buttered and judgmatically salted and peppered, there is no one who will speak more respectfully, not to say reverentially, of a broiled fowl that I will. It is of the adulterous dotings of the old Egyptians upon broiled ibbets and roasted river horses that you see the mummies of those creatures in their huge bake houses, the pyramids. No. When I go to sea, I go as a simple sailor, right before the masts plump down into the forecastle, aloft there to the royal mast head. True, they rather order me about and make me jump from spar to spar like a grasshopper in a May meadow, and at first this sort of thing is unpleasant enough. It touches one's senses of honor, particularly if you come of an old established family in the land. The Van Rensselaer or Randolphs or Harinkunutsis. And more than all, if just previous to putting your hand into the tar pot, you have been lording it as a country schoolmaster, making the tallest boys stand in awe of you, the transition is a keen one. I assure you, from a schoolmaster to a sailor, and requires a strong decoration of Seneca and the Stoics to enable you to grin and bear it, but even this wears off in time. What of it? If some old hunks of a sea captain orders me to get a broom and sweep down the decks, what does the indignity amount to, weighed, I mean, in the scales of the New Testament? Do you think the Archangel Gabriel think anything less of me because I promptly and respectfully obeyed that old hunks in that particular instant? Who ain't a slave, tell me that? Well then, however the old sea captains may order me about, however they may thump and punch me about, I had the satisfaction of knowing that it is all right, that everyone else is one way or other served in much the same way, either in a physical or metaphysical point of view. That is, and so the universal thump is passed around. And all hands should rub each other's shoulder blades and be content. Again, I always go to sea as a sailor, because they make a point of paying me for my trouble, whereas they never pay passengers a single penny that I have ever heard of. On the contrary, passengers themselves must pay, and there is all the difference in the world between paying and being paid. The act of paying is perhaps the most uncomfortable infliction that these two orchid thieves entailed upon us. But being paid, what will compare with it? The urban activity with which a man receives money is really marvelous, considering that we so earnestly believe to be the root of all earthly ills, and that on no account can be a moneyed man enter heaven. How cheerfully we consign ourselves to perdition. Finally, I always go to sea as a sailor, because of the wholesome exercise and pure air of the forecastle deck, for as in this world, heated windows are far more prevalent than winds from eastern. That is, if you never violate the Pythagorean maxim. So for the most part, a commodore on the quarter deck gets his atmosphere at second hand from the sailors of the forecastle. He thinks he breathes it first, but not so. In much the same way we do the commonalty lead their leaders in many other things, at the same time that the leaders little suspected, but wherefore it was that after having repeatedly smelt the sea as a merchant sailor, I should now take it into my head to go on a whaling voyage. This is the invisible police officer of the fates, who has the constant surveillance of me, and secretly dogs me and influences me in some unaccountable way. He could better answer me than anyone else, and doubtless my going on the whaling voyage formed part of the grand program of Providence that was drawn up on me a long time ago. It came as a sort of interlude and solo between more extensive performances. I take it that this part of the bill must have something like this: grand contested election for the presidency of the United States. Whaling voyage by one Ishmael. Bloody battle in Afghanistan. Though I cannot tell why it was exactly that those stage managers, the fates, put me down for this shabby part of a whaling voyage, when others were set down for magnificent parts in high tragedies and short and easy parts in genteel comedies, and jolly parts in farces. Though I cannot tell you why this was exactly, yet now that I recall all the circumstances, I think I can see a little into the springs and motives which bring, cunningly presented to me under various disguises, induce me to set up performing the part I did, besides cajoling me into the delusions that it was a choice resulting from my own unbiased free will, a discriminating judgment. Chief among these motives was the overwhelming idea of the Great Whale himself. Such a portentous and mysterious monster roused all my curiosity. Then the wild and distant seas where he rolled his island bulk, the undeliverable, nameless perils of the whale, these were all the intended marvels of 1,000 Patagonian sights and sounds, helped to sway me to my wish. With other men, perhaps, such things would not have been social with it. Would they let me, since it is but well to be on friendly terms with all the inmates of the place one lodges in? By reason of these things, then the whaling voyage was welcome. The great floodgates of the wonder world swung open, and in wild conceits that swayed me to my purpose, two and two there floated into my inmost soul, endless processions of the will, and midmost of them all one grand hooded phantom, like a snow hill in the air. That is the end of chapter 1, and I believe now we're coming to the end of the pictures from the video game Fallout 4. 600 plus pictures of skeletons. I hope you enjoyed what you saw. I hope you enjoyed on some level what you heard. If you want to see more of this, let us know down below. Giving us a thumbs up helps us dramatically and lifts our spirits. And if you want to see more in the future, hit that subscribe button. Until then, we love you all, wish you the best in your endeavors, and we hope to see you again in the future. Good night.